All right, hey guys, welcome to another episode of Change the Mentality. What are we calling the show? What did we say we called it?
The specific one, it's the willingness to be wrong.
The willingness to be
The
wrong.
art.
Yeah, that's the one.
That's right.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the willingness to be what wrong, guys. Joining me today as my guest is Christopher. Me and Christopher used to work on set together. So yeah, just a quick introduction to. Right, Christopher, over to you.
Cool. Yeah. Well, it starts off with, it was quite a while back, like I read a study on, which is something about that humans innately are positive about themselves. We consider ourselves to be lucky. Now, there's great parts to that and there's drawbacks to it. I'm first going to talk about the good parts to it is, I mean, they did a study, you can look it up somewhere online. It's where if there's 10 people that are smokers, and they ask and they tell them the absolute facts that 9 out of 10 smokers will die of cancer. One person will be lucky. They ask those 10 people, do you think it's going to be you? 9 out of the 10 thought they would be the lucky one. So we always consider ourselves lucky. We're going to be, we
are the lucky ones. Towards other people. Yeah. I've actually thought about that a few times. So just about everyone has this idea in their heads that I'm going to be rich one day. I'm going to do the right things and take the right steps to make it one day. And if you look at it, it's almost the majority of people that think that way. But when you actually look at the statistics, the chances of you actually becoming just a millionaire in South Africa are extremely low. But
it's almost zero to
it's extremely low. So you basically I would say about 99% of the people watching won't ever be rich. But just about all of them believe that they'll make it one day. So that falls along those lines where we've got this bias towards ourselves.
And look here, that's also a survival technique, which is a positive thing. It's if we actually, as human beings with our brain and our consciousness, if we only looked at the statistics, most of us would be horribly depressed and we wouldn't be able to kind of function and survive because we'd look at the numbers and the odds in just normal, like flatline maths rationality, we wouldn't be able to function with that or be happy or have a daily life to be able to be okay with ourselves. But we have to believe that we're going to be the one that can do it. And often, sometimes it happens and it's in different areas, It's not just being a millionaire. There's so many different things that we have that function to that are great for our survival, basically.
Yeah, exactly. That's just one of the examples, but it goes into so many different areas. It's also,
exactly.
It also goes into this bias that we have. If I make a mistake, then I'll blame the computer. If somebody else makes the same mistakes, I'll blame the person operating the computer. And
that's exactly what I was getting to. Is the negative side effects of this. Like
and most of the time we do that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Now, and that belief is now where I get into the point of the willingness to be wrong. Because of that bias, we always judge ourselves to be the ones that are correct. It's that kind of idea or mentality. No matter what the situation, there's two parts to it. It's like we consider ourselves are going to be right in any part of our opinion. And that's sometimes dangerous because opinions are nuanced. They're not just like one idea. And there's another part to it is where we think an opinion is our personality. And if somebody attacks our opinion, we feel it's an attack on ourselves, which is not. It's just an idea. Exactly. And opinions change. I mean, we all know that our opinions change over time. So it's throwawayable.
I love that you pointed that out.
The ability.
So sorry for interrupting you, but I love that you pointed that out because a lot of the times, especially with change the mentality, that is exactly what I'm doing. Is I'm attacking ideas, and it's not the person that and the person themselves that I'm attacking. I'm trying to show you that there's things that you don't understand or just. I'm struggling to find the right way to word it, but it's not a personal attack. It's never a personal attack. It's not it's an attack on your beliefs. You can call it your beliefs, but it's not an attack on you. It's just leading you to more the truth, and once I change your mind, then that becomes yours as well. So in no way should you ever be offended or defensive or anything. You should actually be more open and engaging to it, and wanting to listen, because hey, here's something that I don't know, here's something I don't understand. Let me examine that, let me inspect that, and see if I like it, and if I can apply it to my own things. But people tend to have the exact opposite attitude towards it.
Exactly. They attach their ego to an idea, and that's such a dangerous thing. And that's where you need to say, like, this is where the willingness to be wrong is, when you realize if you don't attach it to your own self, your idea, you are able to let yourself be wrong. And it's accepting. It's most of the time people's arguments when they're talking about opinions, they get too attached to it, and that's where all this heated debate comes, because they feel it's an attack on the ego instead of just an idea that, and again, all ideas are changeable or malleable, and they're going to change over time, and then you have less personal, emotional attached to it, and you can have critical thinking ideas with it, instead of attaching like a very caveman kind of fights over just one simple thing. Now, the other step part of that is, because I know when people hear this kind of thing, they'll often say, no, but what if that person is wrong? The real advantage of when you come from a point where you're willing to be wrong, it means you're listening. And everything is nuanced. So even if somebody is generally, the idea is slightly incorrect or can be dangerous, is you starting to listen and you understand their point of view. Not necessarily that they're going to be right or you're going to be right, but you're starting to listen. It's sometimes we don't listen because we feel that they're wrong. So all of their idea and all of their thing is invalid, which is nonsense. Everybody has some form of validity to where they're coming from. And even if they're complete idiots and completely wrong, is the value of information you get from that person, even if they're wrong, it means the next time you have a discussion with someone, you understand their point of view, and you can maybe push somebody to understand your better point of view because you know where they're coming from.
Exactly. And I catch myself doing this. So I have to keep reminding myself as well. All the time I have to remind myself, especially in a discussion, because a lot of times I already know what they're going to say, and I already know the next thing that I'm going to say in response to that. But then at times I catch myself that where, sure, I was leading the conversation in the right way, and overall I was right, but I wasn't actively listening. And because I wasn't actively listening, I didn't properly engage with the person. So never mind being right or wrong, just in the first place, properly engaging with somebody else, actually fully taking in. I find what a good practice is, and what we should really start doing is start applying the mindset of, yes, I am right. Sure, I am right. That's fine. But for now, while I'm talking to this person, I am just absolutely going to assume that I am wrong and they are the teacher, and I'm going to listen. And I need them. If it doesn't make sense to me, if I don't agree, then let me take on the attitude of, okay, this is why I don't agree. Explain to me why I still don't agree. Not the attitude of, oh no, this is why you're wrong. It's an attitude of, explain this to me. Here's everything that I have. Why is this mismatch?
And look, there's so much of the added value to having that kind of thing is because they feel listened to. And often people get defensive because they don't feel listened to, even if they might have the wrong idea. And then it opens them up to maybe start listening to what you have to say. So it is such a huge positive thing for that. But like you said, it's difficult to do. We all find it, even if we consider ourselves kind of listening kind of people, we've all done it where we no, you're just wrong. And then you've got to catch yourself and hold yourself back.
It's definitely a mental practice. It's something that we need to exercise and do more and more, and very, very, very consciously we have to override our subconscious, or our natural way of doing things. We need to override that and very consciously say, I need to very actively listen right now, because this is a disagreement. This is especially when I need to listen to the other person and take for granted that they are right. Because it's, as I said in the last video, the only way you can be a good judge is if you consider both sides of the topic. It doesn't matter what the hell it is, absolutely nothing. It doesn't matter how bent you are against it. You have to consider both sides before you make a decision, and that's the only way you can be a good judge. You can't already decide the man is guilty and then have in your head the whole time the man is guilty while you're looking at the evidence and trying to figure out if he's guilty or not, because then you already have a bias.
Exactly, and then that's it's just full bias. And there's also now like that other aspect which we were kind of hitting on earlier about that an idea is just an idea. It's actually outside of yourself. Mm-hmm. We've got to realize that, like, especially what you're talking about changes your mentality, is human relationships are the most important thing. So forget so much the opinion, because that could very likely change, or ideas, the world changed. Look at how many ideas and things have changed over the last like maybe 10, 15, 20 years. So that might not be there, but human relationships are always going to be there. And the more you build on that, so that's the important bit. And that's where you're starting to listen by thinking, okay, I am possibly wrong. So therefore let's listen. It's the listening. I mean, it's easy to say to someone, you should listen better, but I think it's more direct when people starting to realize the willingness to be wrong. Like, okay, cool, I could possibly be wrong about this. And that's such an important little difference, because people say listening, and some people just, they're like, oh, I'm hearing, but they're not listening. You know, if you're willing to be wrong, you're really critically thinking of that idea while you're having a discussion with someone, and you're really getting into the nitty gritty of it. Like,
So personally, from my own experience, people have they have these different things that they decide are the most important. Like, these are the most important truths, and they put that there, and like you said, it becomes part of the identity, and they won't budge on that, because I'll change anything but that, right?
Yeah, that's my hard line.
that's my hard line. I won't even consider it. We don't. There's no even talking about it in any case. But so I find the key difference with myself. That is the key difference with myself, is that my ultimate thing, the thing that is the ultimate for me, is truth itself. It's the thing I care about the most. Absolutely, it's the thing I care about the most. Which means whenever I'm confronted with anything that changes my mind about absolutely anything, I can change my mind like that. I can shift absolutely instantly and easily, because I'm not holding on to anything. The only thing that really, really, really matters to me is the truth, because with the truth, I can make the best possible decisions, and then I can make the best decisions for the things that also matter to me. But the overall most important thing is the truth. Therefore, if you're confronted with a whole bunch of other ideas or conflicting things or absolutely anything, what does it matter? Why should it bother you? If it's the truth, it's the truth, and just shift. You can just shift, just like that.
Yeah. And you know, it, like, this is, again, it's hopping on it, because there's a double-sided effect. Like, it's great for your own personal well-being to be able to get your own truths and understand that. But the second knockoff effect is always because it's building relationships where we actually communicate. And I think in today's society, and especially with social media platform, where there's no nuance allowed, it's only my hard opinion, and that you can't have a normal discussion. We have to so slow ourselves down and think, okay, maybe that person's coming from this part. Let me see what it is. Because usually we just react, and it's the worst way to try and communicate is over social media. All it does is digress into like, this is like.
No, social media is a giant fuck up. That's also why I'm enjoying this YouTube thing, which I'm doing now, is because now we can actually have a face-to-face discussion. We can actually talk about things. We can actually engage. There's that human body language aspect that's to it. There's the tone of voice and all of that. All of that gets lost in text. And in text, it escalates so quickly, and then you're at each other's throats, and you're not listening to, you know, it's horrible.
And then it gets to Hitler eventually, wasn't it? Like.
And especially because it's not personal. The personal is removed, so you don't even feel like you can attack the person, because in real life you would never attack the person in the same way, or you would never say the same things in the same way.
Yeah. It's so bad, especially in today's society. Like, that's how a lot of arguments happen, and that's why it's so important for us to shift. Because anything with new technologies, I think we're in society in flux. We're busy discovering what's the right way to do things because of these new things. We haven't found like our like codes and terms and conditions. I mean, like in the early days when emails came out, there were things where people were doing really stupid things, and then we started making our rules properly. Like, and now we need to do that with social media. I think we're in that stage where we're starting to realize, no, this is not acceptable. This is acceptable. Like, and that kind of blocking off argument, we've got to get rid of that. And we've got to start changing like our ideas about how we communicate to each other, you know, the thing is, like what I was saying is with the social media thing is it's back to almost that same discovery where we think and we take what we texting, even ourselves, we text it in the most positive light because we think we're like the smartest, the luckiest, whatever, and we take everybody else's idea in the most negative light. And especially in text, you can read it sarcastic, you can read it angry, you can read it something, and we believe they're doing that. Meantime, they possibly aren't doing that, you know.
That is the major stuff with text. It's such a bad thing. It's such a bad thing. Another thing that I just want to point out is now that you're talking about social media, is this new what algorithms do. So this is, I actually want to make another video about social media, but it's a very dangerous thing. Is the algorithms feed you everything that matches your identity, which means everything that all your views and everything that's in your little bubble gets fed to you by social media and on all the different platforms that you're on, and that's everything that's inside your bubble, and you never see anything that's outside of your bubble. You never hear anything that's outside of your bubble, and each person has their own little bubble, so it reinforces and strengthens these differences in views that people have, and they never get to hear any other views. So you're just living in your own little bubble on social media, which is very, very, very bad and very dangerous and very bad for the world.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's crazy. I've told a lot of people about this because I've always had hope for humanity. And when, like, because obviously I grew up with a generation that didn't have internet, didn't have any of these social media platforms. So from my point of view, when the ideas of these things came out, I was so positive. I was like, oh my God, the best of the human race is going to connect with the best of them. We're going to suddenly become this heightened society. Meantime, it's been the opposite. All the really bad apples or bad ideas have reinforced their bad ideas by connecting with people around the world, which is dangerous as well. This is where we need to shift that kind of ideology so that we can get back on track to the utopian idea that I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, exactly. No, you're speaking exactly my experience. So I started Change Mentality about 7 years ago, and that was the way I viewed it as well. Is I'm going to go on social media. I'm going to tell people about all of these views and things, and we're going to move towards that utopian society or towards those ideals, and people are going to start hearing it, and they're going to, because now we all interconnected and people will start understanding things. And then it just went haywire completely in the opposite direction, and it's flying in the opposite direction, and it's scary, and I couldn't fathom what the hell is actually going on, and how much we are going, and it's just getting worse and worse. It's absolutely. Every time something new comes on the media or something new comes on the news, and it's a new fad, and everyone is buying into this bullshit, and it's the bullshit that sells. Everyone is absolutely sold on bullshit, and it just goes crazy, and there's no stopping it.
Yeah, I had like almost like an epiphany, more like kind of recently, because I was listening to a comedian that does a podcast, and obviously comedians have a massive problem. They have now for the last time with cancel culture, because they get canceled, they get thing. And this one guy, he did this amazing thing, and I'm starting to learn to do that with social media. When somebody's being an idiot or saying something that's really brazen or whatever, ignore them. Like it's because they are literally looking for that argument. Yes, they're totally wrong and the thing, but if you ignore them often, like in certain situations, it's not everything, but if you ignore them, it fizzles out quicker because like what he was talking about, the next news cycle, it disappears. Like, you know, they don't have any traction.
Yeah, because it's that conflict that keeps it alive. And there with certain things, I won't mention the topics because they're so controversial. But myself talking about it and fighting against it actually helped boost it. I feel like, in a sense. But at the same time, I feel like they are spreading mindsets. They are putting mindsets out in the world, and I just have to go and say. You'll find I do it the whole time on Facebook. I piss people off all the time. There's a lot of people that hate me.
You've still got the energy to do that, man.
I have to. I can't let it go. I can't let it go. I can't have somebody thinking that kind of bullshit in the world. And I have to tell them, listen, so this was exactly what happened the last week. And I just lightly wanted to point out how off this was and pointed out the reasons why it was off. And then, it went south very quickly.
This is what, like, I mean, I love you for this, like, because I was exactly like that, where because we're expecting the best of people to have actually critical conversations where there's a give and take. But unfortunately, most of the social media area is so toxic that it just digresses into thing. And it wasn't, I used to be exactly like that, but literally this COVID thing, like the lockdown thing, it actually got too much even for me. And I've got quite a thick skin where I just disengaged. Like maybe I'll get back into it where I'm actually going to start pushing and pressing buttons just for fun. Like, you know, but at the time it was just too much. Like,
well, I have to say I took a 2-year break because I couldn't handle it anymore. So I closed down, changed the mentality, the page, the group, everything. But I'm back at it full speed. But it's tough, dude. This, like I said, I had this interaction this last it was 2 days ago, and it fucked me up, dude. I've been so broken the whole of today and the whole of yesterday. Not only because the conflict happened, but it's also because the other person is so ignorant of it. They have absolutely no idea that how wrong they are. They're so full of themselves, and then on top of that, it's how they view me. So I know that this person now blocked me and they wrote me off, and they think I'm the biggest asshole on earth, and that hurts me. And they carry on with their lives. It doesn't mean shit to them. They couldn't care less that they don't like you or if you like them or not. So for other people, it's for people who care, it's very difficult. For people who don't care, it's very easy. It's just a fuck you attitude to everyone. But for me, and I have so many people in my life that have written me off because of the same thing. And I know all of them think that I'm the biggest douchebag on the planet, and it really fucking hurts. It really hurts. But at the same time, what I'm doing is so much more important to me that it's kind of like going to war. You just put on thick skin and fight through.
I just want to say, this is like, I mean, because obviously you've had these wars, and this is the text war. This is exactly the thing with like that kind of thing. The whole willingness to be wrong, because I'm getting us back to the topic. It's that kind of willingness only works when there's nuance. And unfortunately, the social media platform has allowed people to think it's okay not to have nuance in a discussion or argument. Because I almost bet you, if you'd had to have these conversations face to face with any of those people, it wouldn't digress into this very heavy, angry, or like you being blocked kind of thing. And that people have kind of gotten lazy, that we haven't yet realized, like, just because you're online doesn't mean that you can't be a human being. And you can't accept that that's another human being. Like, and like, it's the relationship that's important.
You don't realize it. Yeah.
And they value the idea more than the person, which is ridiculous. Like, it should be the other way around.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Chris, do you have any last words? I think we wrap it up.
No, just people must be keep safe and be willing to have like a debate and like keep up the good work, man. Stefan, this is awesome. Like,
and I welcome all of you. Come onto my channel. Let's not discuss this thing over text, like we said. Come talk to me on the channel. Tell me what you want to say. I will listen. I will let you speak. And I hope you will listen as well while you're on the channel. Chris, thank you so much.
And I'm going to send it to everybody else. Thank you, Stefan. It's been great.
what you said was absolutely awesome. Thank you so much for how you prepared all of this. Super
Cool, man.
Thanks
No
so much,
worries.
Chris. Chat to you soon. Man.
Okay, cool. Ciao. Ciao. Bye.
Okay, guys. So from me, change the mentality. Thank you very much for tuning in. I hope you guys like what you saw over here. If you agree with what we said, please help us change the mentality. Share this video, show it to your friends, and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. And then also, if you would like to be a guest on the show, please leave a comment in the comment section below with the topic that you would like to discuss along with your views, just so I know more or less where you're coming from. If I like what you have to say, I'll take you onto the show, and yeah, great stuff. Yeah, hit like, subscribe. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching.